Coming to TestNG questions. Okay. First question is write the correct syntax for the TestNG file. What is the syntax of the TestNG file? It will TestNG file always starts with the suit name, and then we will give some name, whether it is a login suit, admin suit, regression suit, sanity suit. Test name. Then we will give a test tags. Test will have a name under that classes, then class name. If we have a methods and then include and exclude tags, we will have. This is the general high level syntax of the TestNG file. What is a data provider in TestNG? What is a data provider in TestNG? A data provider is a method in TestNG that supplies multiple sets of data to a single method, allowing you to run same test multiple times. Basically, data provider we will use for data driven testing. That means same test case you want to execute for multiple times with different test data. Suppose you want to verify login with different types of login users and passwords. Different types of users basically, right? Admin user, normal user. Right. If you want to verify any test case with multiple sets of data, test case will be same. You want to test data will be different. Then we will go for a data provider. So to achieve data driven testing. Right, how you will write basic syntax of it? We have to create a one method and annotate with a data provider at the rate data provider annotation, give the name, and then data provider will return two-dimensional object. It should return a two-dimensional object. Here just we have return new object and then here username password. Right, we can get this data from either JSON file, Excel file, or DB. We can get it from data from anywhere. We can prepare the two-dimensional object. Right, how to use it? At the rate test and then give the data provider equal to what is the name of the data provider? Login rate. We have to give that login rate. We have here we have three sets of data. So it will execute this test case will execute three times. Three times it will execute. Then how do you pass parameters in TestNG? What are the ways to pass the parameters in TestNG? There are two ways to pass the parameters to your test methods using at the rate parameters from the TestNG XML file or data provider. Just now we have seen how to pass from the data provider. Using parameters also we can pass the data. How to pass it in the class? This is the test case. Suppose I want to get some data from the TestNG file. At the rate parameters, and then here we have to use curly brackets, browser, and URL. These two things we need to get from the TestNG. Suppose I want to execute this test case with this Chrome browser with the URL. Suppose one more test case with Firefox and different browser. So we can pass from TestNG parameter name and then value. Same name, whatever we have given in the parameter, that name we have to give here at the rate parameters. Then here how many these are string types. So string browser name, string app URL. Here two are we are passing two parameters, then two. We have to pass two parameters in the method also. If we don't pass two, it will throw error. Otherwise, we can also make it as a optional. If you want, we can also make it as a optional. Before the string, we can add at the rate optional, so it will become a optional parameter. using data provider. Just now we have seen data provider, how to pass it. Okay, to create the browser and URL in the Selenium automation coming to, while creating the browser, right, we can pass browser and URL from the XML. Right, next question is, how do you execute failed test case again in TestNG? How do you execute? Suppose regression suit is there, we have executed, some test cases are failed, how you will re-execute those? Default behavior of the TestNG, once the execution is done, it will create a TestNG-failed.xml in the test output folder. Test output folder, it will generate a TestNG-failed.xml file. It will contain all the failed test cases. We can right click and run it. We can run this XML file. It will run automatically all the failed test cases. This is one of the way. This is one of the way. How do you? We can also write this is the how we will execute through Maven. We can execute, or we can execute it from TestNG. Right. Directly from the IDE, we can right click and execute, or through Maven command, we can execute. Or one more way is I retry in listener. I retry listener. Whenever test case is failed, it will automatically trigger again. Right. We have to implement I retry analyzer, and then method override the method. Provide the implementation. Here we will have a retry count, max retry count. Max 2 times. If test case is failed, it will retry for 2 times. Retry I test result. If retry count less than max retry count plus, and then return true. That means it will return the test. If you return false, it will stop. Right, then in the test case level, we have to use like retry analyzer equal to what is the class name of the retry analyzer. We can combine with the listener. But we can add a listener. It will, so you don't need to annotate with each test case individually. You don't need to annotate with each test case with the individual. And see, we can TestNG.failed XML rerun only failed test after execution. Then CI/CD runs. This one, whichever we require, we can enable that. Automatically retry. The I retry listener means it will automatically retry the test cases. From CI/CD post build, right? We will have a post build. There we can give again Maven command like this. It will run failed test cases again. If there are any failed test cases, it will run it again. That we can also do from the CI/CD automatically to rerun the failed test cases. Then coming to framework level questions. Framework level interview questions. Write a program to read data from the Excel file. If you want to read the data from the Excel file, we have to add the dependencies called Apache POI and OXML. These two we need to add in the Maven file. And then Excel testdata.xlx file. Right. Nowadays we will use XLX only. Olden days we will have a XLS. Now it is XLX. So we will have a rows and columns. Excel means we will have a rows and columns. First row will be header. From the second row onwards, it will be data. Suppose this is the file path. SRC test resources test data.xr. So how you will read it? In the code, we will get the file path. Then we will create the file input stream and then give the file path. Here what we will do? Workbook factory dot. There is a class workbook factory dot create. Pass the file path, file input stream. It will return the workbook object. It will return the workbook object. Then Once we get the access to workbook, then we can get the which sheet we want to run. Workbook.get sheet name. We can pass the sheet name, which sheet we want, our index also we can pass. Then we will get the sheet. Once we get the sheet, next step is what? We have to read the number of rows. We have to iterate one by one row. So first we need to get how many rows are there? Physical number of rows. How many physical number of rows? Then column. How to get the column count? Sheet dot get row. First sheet dot get row of 0. First row is always a header row. So we can get the physical number of cells. Row count, column count. Once we get the row count, column count, we can have a loop through it. Int I equal to 0, I less than row count, and then get the row. And then again one more loop to loop the columns. Int j equal to 0, j less than column count, j plus plus. Then how to get, first we get the row, then row dot get cell, and we will convert that data to string value. Excel cell will contain either string or number, different types of formats. So we will convert to string. That's it, simple. Then close the workbook and file and post. Simple. Workbook factory dot create and then get the sheet and get the number of physical number of columns, physical number of rows, physical number of cells, physical number of cells. Then iterate it. Simple then. That's it. What are the encoding and decoding techniques for handling sensitive data? Right. How you will handle, sometimes they will ask how you will handle sensitive data. One thing we can do, encryption and decryption. We can suppose if we have a password or keys, we can encrypt it. We can encrypt and store it in the file, property file, and read it. While reading, we will decrypt it. Or otherwise, some other system they don't want to keep inside the code. Then we have to pass it from either CI/CD as a runtime parameters or vault system. There are some systems, there are third party tools will be there. We can store it there. Third party systems we can store and they will provide API. By using API, we can call those things. Here, I have explained with AES encryption. AES encryption. Here some little bit code. For encrypt and decrypt, we can write some piece of code. Suppose this is the key. Fixed key we have to maintain. This is the key. Anything we can give key. And then this is the data. Suppose maybe password. Then we can create some secret key spec and cipher. This is the JDK, right? If we have JDK, from JDK we will get it. Then just we have to write this piece of code. It will encrypt. Then again in the code, we will have a decrypt. So we can encrypt and decrypt. So this is the secret one. We should not share it to anyone. If anyone knows this one, they can encrypt and decrypt. The next one is explain Selenium grid and the SAS lab. Selenium grid and the SAS lab. So what are these things? If you want to execute our test cases, Selenium grid is part of Selenium suite that allows to run tests in parallel across different machine browser operating system. Basically, we will use Selenium grid and SAS labs to run across different machines, browsers, and operating systems. It helps to distribute our test execution multiple environment instead of running everything on one system. In Selenium grid means we will have a hub and node. We have to create the hub. We have to create the nodes. Hub and nodes. Right. Hub will take the request. It will pass to the nodes. That from the code we will send the request, which browser, which operating system we want to run. Hub will take the request, then corresponding node, it will transfer the execution. Similarly, If we want to run, we have to create the remote WebDriver. And then what is the grid URL where grid is running and the capabilities. We have to pass the browser name platform. But we can execute on parallel on multiple browsers or single browser also. We can execute multiple test cases, cross-platform, distributed test execution. We can use grid with Docker, integrate with CSC. What is Sauce Lab? Sauce Labs is a cloud-based testing platform that provides Selenium Grid as a service. If you let if lets you run hundreds of browser version devices operating system without maintaining your own. Grid means we should have a systems. Right? If we want to run multiple operating system, multiple browsers, multiple versions, it's very difficult to set up that environment using grid in our local or remote. It is a little bit difficult. But if you use the SaaS Labs cloud-based testing platform, they will provide everything, different operating systems, different browsers, different OS, right? But it is a license because we have to take the license. Right? We can get the features like cross-browser testing, cross-platform testing, cloud-based Selenium Grid. Just we require a URL. That's it. We no need to do any setup. Parallel execution. We can test on the real devices also. We can integrate with CI/CD. It will also provide video and logs also. Right. Just we need to give the URL source lab URL. That's it. See HTTPS username access key source lab. If we have account, we will get the username and access key. Just we can pass this URL. That's it. In the if it is a grid URL, we will pass where the hub is running. If it is a source lab, we will just pass the source lab URL. Right. That's it. Then we have to pass the what is the browser, what is the version, what is the platform. So it will automatically run. Then next question, what are the different Maven commands and which plugin is used to configure the test suite file? In Maven, basically this is a basic question. We will get it. What are the different Maven commands or what is the life cycle of the Maven? Usually, when you execute, suppose if you execute MVN test, this will all execute. First, it will validate the project, all the files are correct or not. Then it will compile the code. Then it will compile the test code. Then it will run the test cases. Usually, we will do up to MVN test. If we have a framework, what we will do? We will do MVN install. If you do execute MVN install, it will execute all these things. MVN install means what it will do? It will validate, it will compile, it will test compile, we can test. If you want to skip, we can skip the test case execution. It will package jar file and then verify. It will check the results of integration test to ensure quality. Then install. It will install that jar file, whatever it is generated in the local repository. Sometimes you want to deploy to Nexus repository, those things, we will use a MVN deploy. MVN deploy means it will generate the jar file, it will upload that jar file to the cloud. We can do MVN clean, MVN site, MVN dependency column tree to see the hierarchy of the what are the dependencies we have used in the project, then we can use this. These are the different commands we will use in the Maven. MVN clean test. Clean, it will clean the all the previously generated artifacts and then run the test cases. Clean package, clean install. But if you want to run with the suite file. And what is the plugin we have used? Maven Surefire plugin. If you want to execute through Maven. If you want to run test cases through Maven, we have to configure Maven Surefire plugin. Very important. Maven Surefire plugin, suit files, suit XML files, then suit. Sometimes they will ask to write suit XML files, suit file, and then what is the file we want to execute. Okay, fine. Compiler, we will have a different types of plugins we can use. Compiler plugin to compile the code, Surefire plugin to run the test case, failsafe plugin to run the integration test cases, Maven jar plugin to build the jar file, clean plugin to clean, dependency plugin to manage the dependencies, Maven Surefire report plugin to generate the HTML report. We will have different types of plugins. The next question, what is the difference between stash and pop? What is the stash? Stash is used to temporarily save your uncommitted changes without committing them. So you can switch branches on or work on something else. Sometimes what will happen, you want to take the latest code, you will get a conflicts. You want conflicts. So in that case, what we can do, we can store our local whatever. So whatever changes you have, you can store somewhere. By using git stash, we can store it in a memory and take the latest code. Take the latest code again. Now again we integrate the whatever you have stashed, then again pop it. Then it will again apply on the latest code. Okay, suppose git stash. That means stash all uncommitted changes. Git stash -l. Stash is untracked and tracked files, both tracked and untracked files. Git stash list. It will show all the stashed changes. Git stash apply. Reapplies the most recent stash. Git stash pop. Reapplies and removes the recent stash. It will remove it. Git stash drop. Delete specific stash from the list. Git stash clear. Remove all stashes. Right? Git stash and git pop. Okay, fine. These are all git stash and pop. Then write a JDBC program. Sometimes they will ask what is the program. Can you write a program to connect to the JDBC program? First, we need to load the JDBC driver, then establish the connection, then create the statement or prepare statement object, execute the query, process the result, close the connection. Right. If you are using either SQL, MySQL or Oracle, we should have a connection URL, username, password, then query. First, we need to do connection object, create the connection. These are all class level variables. Then class that for name, give the driver. We need to give the driver, whether it is a MySQL Oracle, we have to give the driver class. It will load the class. Then driver manager dot get connection. Establish the connection. Establish the connection by giving URL, username, password. We will get the connection object. Once we get the connection object, we can either prepare statement. We can use either prepare statement or statement. We can get the prepare statement or statement object. Then execute the query. Execute the query. What is the query? We have already here query select some ID name grade from students. Execute query, it will return the result set object. Then we can use while rs.next, then we can get the one by one row data. Get int, get string, get string. We have to pass the column name. Right? Like this simple code we can write, we can connect to the database. Once it is done, we finally block, we will close it. Right, then in the Maven, we have to use either if you are using MySQL connector. If you are using Oracle dependency, we need to add. Otherwise, runtime exception we will get. So we have to add the dependencies, which database we are connecting. Then coming to CI/CD and DevOps, they will ask, do you have experience in Jenkins integration? If you have idea, you can tell what are the steps you have done. Right. If you want to do setup, Jenkins setup, we have to follow. First, we have to download and install the Jenkins and install the required plugins, configure the Git in Jenkins and configure the Maven. We have to configure the Maven, and then we can create the job. Either we can create a freestyle or pipeline job or Maven job. We can create either any type of based on our project requirement. We can create either freestyle. Mostly we will create either pipeline or Maven job. Maven or pipeline job. So we have to configure the Git, what is the repository URL and what is the Maven command. Post build, we have to give publish HTML report. Right, fine. If we are using a pipeline, you can create the pipeline. First, we need to check out the code. Check out the code from the Git, then build that, then results. Right, we can also create a pipeline. Explain different Git commands. Right, different Git. Usually, what are the Git commands we will use? Git clone, Git fetch, Git pull, Git commit, Git push, Git branch, Git checkout or Git switch, Git merge, Git stash, Git reset. These are the different Git commands. Usually we will use Git pull, Git push. Right. Mostly we will use Git take the latest code. Only first time Git clone we will use. Next time onwards, Git pull latest code, Git commit, Git commit, Git add, Git commit, Git push. Right. Mostly these four commands only we will use Git pull, Git. Then once we get the latest code, we will add our local changes and then commit the local changes and push. Then what is the difference between delete, drop? Coming to SQL queries, difference between drop, delete, truncate. Delete, what it will do? Delete command, delete from employees where department HR. Use it to delete specific rows. We can use the where condition. By using specific condition, we can delete. That means by using where condition, we can decide which rows we need to delete. Table structure remains same, can be rolled back. If we use the delete command, if we want to roll back again, we can roll back. Truncate, removes all the rows from the table quickly, faster than delete. Truncate means what? There is no condition. Truncate table employees. It will delete all the data. Keeps the table structure. We cannot use where condition, cannot be rolled back. This is a DDL command. Right? We cannot, it will delete all the rows. We cannot roll back it. What is drop? Drop completely removes the table. Drop table name. It will delete data structure, constant indexes cannot be rolled back. It will delete entire table itself. Drop table name. So those are the difference between delete, truncate, drop. See, delete is a DMN command, data manipulation language, data definition language. Truncate is a DDL command. Drop also DDL command. Delete specific rows. By using delete, we can delete specific rows, but a truncate and drop we cannot. Removes the table. No, only drop will remove the table. Can roll back. Only delete can be roll back. If you delete, we can roll back. So last one is the joins. We can also expect what are the different types of joins you have used. Or they will ask specific join. Can you explain left outer join, right outer join, full outer join? Right, joins also we need to prepare it. Left outer join means what? All the rows from the left table and matching rows from the right table. If there is no match, it is still return the left table row with null. Nulls for right table, right side column. So what is the syntax? Select columns from table 1, left join, table 2. And then what is the kind of unique column? On table 1 dot column equal to table. Like if we take a employee department, select from employee, left join, department, and then on employee dot department ID, department dot department. Right, we have different types of joins: left join, inner join, left join, right join, full out. Coming to API testing, what are the different API methods available in the REST assured? If we say you have idea on REST assured, they will. What are the different methods? Get to read the data, post to create it, put to update, patch, partial update, delete to delete. Head and option. This is very rarely. Head means we can get the metadata. Options means what are the different options it will support. Right. What does idempotent mean? This is also an important question. What does idempotent means in the API? Idempotent in API means making the same request multiple times has the same effect as making it once. If we call API one time or 10 times, it will have same effect. Idempotent means no matter how many times you call it, the result remains same. The result remains same. If you call it, no matter how many times you will call. Get is the idempotent. If you call same request again and again, there is no change. Same result we will get. Delete also idempotent. Put is also idempotent. But create is a not idempotent because every time it will generate a new one. So it is not idempotent. Idempotent, save to retry, get to put to delete are idempotent, post is not idempotent. Why post is not idempotent? Because each post request create a new resource or causes a different change in the system. That means every time we will create a new request, so that is not a idempotent. And then sometimes they will ask specific ports. What is the difference between 401, 405? 401 means unauthorized. If you don't pass the correct authentication, username, password, or token, we will get 401 unauthorized. 405 method not allowed. Instead of post, if you send put, instead of get, if you send post, we will get a 405 method not allowed. 405 method not allowed. 401 is the unauthorized, 405 is the method not allowed. Right. Some of the tips before going to the automation, hands-on practice. Right. Just to do the practice. Right. Without practice, don't go to the interview. Don't attend it. Right. If you attend it, what will happen if you go for a that is a company, important company or good company, right? You will not get again chance. Another 6 months, they will block you. So if you want to go for, choose a whichever company you don't want to go, attend such type of companies, and then give the interviews and get the knowledge what type of questions you will get and prepare well. Then only you go to right your most preferred companies. Framework knowledge, just go through the, if you have 7 to 10 years of experience, just you must have framework. CI/CD. Logical thinking is everyone should have. Java programs, everyone. Behavior. Right? Behavioral also important. So these are all the different questions we can expect in the JPMorgan says data. If you like the video, please click on the like button, subscribe to the channel, enable notification. Please share it to your friends. Right. Thanks for watching.